Hello everybody, my name is Maxim and I'm from CodeJig team. In this video, I want to show you how to properly work with drop-down lists in our app builder. Basically, drop-down lists offer some defined options that makes it easier for user to input some data, or they may be used to restrain users' input by only allowing them to use some of the defined options. As you can see, I already created a basic application which goal is just basically to gather some information about a user such as first name, second name, and other. So right now, let's find out about the user status. To do this, let's create a basic drop-down list. To do this, go to Add New Field folder and drag the field Select to our form. And let's call it Status. Right now, we can add some instances to our drop-down list. To do this, you can basically add them inside the builder, but you need to do this if you want to use these options in some future coding, because they will be stored in the data type, or you can add them inside the application if you're not planning to use them in some future operations. So right now, we're going to create those instances in our application. To do this, let's publish our app. We click Save. Our app has just been published, and let's move to this. So here is our application form with some fields, and let's go to the field status to add those options. So as we can see here, we have no results found, and to add some options, just click on the button Create New, and let's add those status options like let it be student, save and close, then click on Create New one more time, employed, and let it be unemployed. So as we can see, we have three defined options, and if the user wants to indicate something else, he can use the create button as well. So right now, let's move to our application for some more examples. So delete it, just leave it, and imagine that you want to get the gender of a user. To do this, you can use a drop-down list as well. So let's drag this field in here, and let's call it gender. However, as you may know, gender has always three options, like male, female, and undefined. So we don't want the user to indicate some other options. To do this, let's remove the create button that we had in the previous example. So we go to our list editor and go to general settings and to the settings of create new action. And we basically switch to don't show create new. And as those options will be always the same, it might be useful to use them in some future coding. So right now, let's add them in our application builder. The easiest way to do this is just by clicking plus in here. So let's add male. Another way to do this is going to seed instances folder and clicking create new. So we create it, let it be female, and let's add one more as undefined. We save and close it, and to see what we got, let's just publish our application. Save. Our application has just been published, and let's just open it. And as you can see, we just created two very basic drop-down lists, and let's see the difference between them. So in the status one, we created the options inside our applications and allowed the user to use create new button to input his own value. And in the gender one, we created the instances inside the app builder and disabled the create new action. And right now, I want to show you how to work with drop-down lists in a bit more advanced way. To do this, let's move to our web pages. Let's close the application. And right now, imagine that you have your own beauty studio and it has three different offices in three different cities. And your services vary according to the city or according to the age group or gender of different customers. So you want to filter the drop-down list of your services according to some parameters that user will indicate, such as city, gender, or type of service. So to do this, let's create a new web page and let's just call it as offers. We create it. And let's create three basic drop-down lists, one for the city, the second for type of service, and the third for age group and gender. So let's just create the first one in the same way as we did it before. So we just drag it and call it city. We create it, and for this list, we'll be adding the instances inside our application because we will need them later. So we just click plus, let it be New York, afterwards let it be Boston, and let it be Los Angeles. As you can see, we created two more drop-down lists in the same way as we did with the city. We disabled the create new button because it is our service and the user cannot input anything else. So we created the instances inside our application builder because we will need them in future to filter the drop-down list with services. So as you can see, we offer, here are the seed instances. We offer services for both boys, girls, men and women. Then our type of services are nails, hair, makeup, and skin. And we offer them in 3 cities, Boston, New York, and Los Angeles. So to create a drop-down list with our services, we need to create an entire data type. I'll explain why later. So let's just go to data types, and we add new, let it be offerings. So we create it, and let's add according fields. So the first one, let it be the city. We select the data type of our city, create it. Then we create one more field, which is going to be type of service. We again select the according data type, which is our type of service. And we create a regular field called age and gender. So, and this is our age and gender data type. So we create it, and also we need to create a basic string field to name our service. So let it be name of the service, and we select string and create it. And right now we will add some instances, and we can also do this in this folder. So let's just be this instance for our Boston. Type of service is going to be, let it be hair. Age and gender is going to be for men. And the name of service is basically, let it be a haircut. So we save and close, and in the same way we'll create much more instances. As you can see, I created a lot of instances with each service connected to a specific age and gender, type of service, and city. And right now let's create a string view so that our offerings would be displayed in the drop-down list as we want it. So we click create new on the views, create it, and let's view it just with the name of the service. And we just drag this field in here and click save. So right now I want to explain you why we created an entire data type to create a drop-down list with the services. So let's just go to our web pages and offers and edit it. So the reason we did this because in our built-in drop-down list we have basic 2 options, select and lookup. We worked with select in some previous examples, and the way select does, it creates a new data type with one default string field. However, a lookup needs to use an existing data type, and this is the reason we created an entire data type to demonstrate our offers. So we just drag the field as we did with the services, we enter and let it be offers as well, and we select an according data type. So in this case it is offerings. So we created data type, and as we can see we added a drop-down list. And right now let's publish our app and see what we got. Save. As you can see, our application has just been published, and let's just open it and see what we got. Let's go to our offers page and click on add new, And in here, we have the list of our offers with all of the services, as you can see. And let's try inputting some, let it be city, and age and gender, and type of services is going to be hair. And what we want to filter this list according to these parameters that I just indicated. However, we have still the same list of the services. And to filter this list, we need to create a function. To create our function, let's move to the data types folder and go to our web page folder, which is offers, because all the filtering operations will be executed in there. And we should add a function. So we just click create new, and let's name it filter for offerings. And the function should be a client one because the filtering operations are executed on the client side, and we just create it. So here we have our code block editor. And at first, to filter our list, we should specify the return type, which is going to be filtering. So we go to the folder filters and choose this block, drag it in here, and we should specify what data type we're going to filter. So we should just print our offerings data type, which we created, and we get this data type so that the function would know that it will be filtering offerings. And we also want to filter according to 3 parameters: city, type of service, and age and gender. So we need to specify them in our function. So we just drag one more argument, so let it be city. Then we drag an argument called type of service, and we drag one more, which is gonna be our age and gender. So here we're done. We should also specify the data types of this argument, which are gonna be, so let's just type city, our data type created by the list. Then we specify type of service just by typing, and we get it. And age and gender, we get this parameter, and we're done. So as we want our function to filter everything, we should return a filtering operation. So we just type return and get this code block and just drag it in here. So as we want to return filtering options, we need to add this block to our return one. And here we should indicate the variable, which is going to be our offer. The variable is already of type offerings, as we indicated in here that we will be filtering offerings. And right now we need to make some comparisons. So the city of an offer must be the same as the user input, which is our argument city. So the type of service of an offer must be the same as the user type of service, and the same thing with age and gender. So to do this, let's just show the offer variable and get its age and gender. Then we should get its city, and indeed we need to get its type of service. And right now we need to get our variables, our arguments. So we just get our city from user, we get our type of service from user, which is going to be filled in according fields, and we get our age and gender from the user. And right now, as we want to filter by those 3 options, we should just add a logic block end. And as we are filtering 3 options, we should add one more end block. And right now, comparisons. So we want to compare them with an equality sign. And we compare offer age and gender and the user age and gender. We also compare equality. We also compare offer city and the user city. And the last thing, we compare offer type of service and user, type of service. So we created our function, and let's just save it right now. So we created our function, however, we didn't call it anywhere. And to do this, let's go to our web page, offers, and choose our offers field that we want to filter, and we should add an action to it. And the action is going to be onField filtered, as we want to filter our list, and we just save page and redirect to the block. So in this action, we should return and call our filtering function. So let's just type return block, and we get it, just connect it right here. And then we should type our function, which is filter for offerings. We select it, and we connect it to this. And right now we can get the real user input by accessing the item variable. So, and let's connect the according parameters to our arguments. So age and gender, we connect to our age and gender function. Then we go to item one more time. We get our city and connect it to the city parameter. And the same thing with type of service. We connect it right here. However, we should go for some validation so that the user would be notified if the list can be filtered because he didn't fill all the data. So we go in this case for an if block, and we need to compare the user input and nothingness or null. So let's add a logic block for the three options because we're comparing like city, type of service, and age and gender. And let's add one more, duplicate. So, and right now, let's add those comparisons. Logic, we drag it like this. Then we duplicate this block as well and duplicate it for here. So right now, let's get the city and compare it is with null. Then the same thing with type of service. We get the variable and compare it with null. And the same thing with age and gender. We just compare it in here. And null. Yes. So if city or type of service or age and gender are nothing, the user will be notified. So we should switch from and to or. And let's add a log function about let it be warning. And let's add text to it, just like that. And let's hit fill out all the parameters. So yes. And we should execute our action only if this condition is satisfied. So we add an else block to our if block and just drag our return fields in here. So right now, let's save our function and see what we got. Let's publish our app. So our application has just been published, and let's just open it and try it out. So we should go to our offers page, and let's click add new. And so let's try to display the list. As we can see, we have all the services in here listed, and we got the message that we should fill out all the parameters to filter it. So let's indicate, let it be Boston, let it be for men, and let it be hair services. And let's view the offers right now. As we can see, the list got much shorter with all the selections filtered, and this is why we did this. So right now, I'm going to show you some other tools, and let's move to our application builder. To show you the way the next tool works, let's go to our page, which is offers. Let's edit it. And to separate it from previous example, let's just add another group box. And yes, so basically the tool is very good for polling because at first you will ask the user, for example, to choose 5 sports that he likes the most. And afterwards, among those 5 sports, he needs to choose one sport that he likes the most. So to do this, at first, we need to create a field where user can choose 5 sports he likes. So it could be it must be a multi-select field. So let's just drag it. It is obvious that in multi-select, the user will be able to choose different options. So it's going to be sports. And we create it. Let's just separate the block. And right now, to make the user choose only one sport, we create a lookup field because it must be of type of our sports. So let it be a sport because it's a single one. And we choose this type sports because this field must have the same instances as the sports field. And we create it. However, so that not all of the instances would be displayed in this drop-down list, and only the ones that user chose, we should go to the field editor and go to the advanced folder and switch from data source from database to our sports. So for example, let's just add some instances to our sports. Let it be basketball and let it be football, volleyball, and tennis. The last one. So yeah, we just added those instances. And right now, let's publish our app and see what we got. Save changes. So our application has just been published, and let's just open it and see what we got. So let's go again to our offers page, and let's select, for example, let it be my 3 favorite sports. Let it be basketball. Afterwards, among those, I choose tennis. And I also want to add one more that I like. So for example, let it be golf. I save it. And right now, I want to choose only one sport that appeals me the most. And as you can see right here, I have the list of those 3 options that I chose in the sports field. So, and among them, I choose basketball. And here we're done. I hope everything was clear for you. Thank you for watching. Bye.